I finally got into a relationship, and turns out I had to take a pause yesterday, and it's with somebody who I never thought this would ever happen, a Catholic priest. And I don't even go to church. And it started as a friendship, and it's like such a great one. It's the best one I've ever been in, with somebody who has every quality that I'm looking for, except for he's still married to God. And you guys, I cannot lie anymore. And I made a mistake in my video last week I said I have 36 years sobriety, which I do, but I said I was putting away a blanket and I got the dates mixed up. I said 2025, and I have 36 years of sobriety as of 2025, just so you know. So anyway, yeah, I had to put a pause on this relationship because I started to catch feelings, which I did not. I thought I could just be friends, and I can't. And it's really, really hard. I've never been in this situation before. And my son is like, Mom, it's like that show, Nobody Wants This, except for it's not, and it's not as funny. That show is so funny, by the way. If you never got a chance to watch it on Netflix, Nobody Wants This is hysterical. And I wish this was that funny, but it's not. It's actually sad, and my heart is breaking right now. However, I know it's the right thing, and it might not be forever, but it's for right now. And that's another thing I'm learning. Everything doesn't have to be all or nothing, which is how I lived a majority of my life. Everything had to be either it is or it isn't. I didn't know how to take a pause. I didn't know how to take a break. I didn't know how to not react right as things are happening. I've learned how to make boundaries and have them. And a lot of times with boundaries, people don't hear boundaries. They see them through action. So a lot of times when I used to say I had a boundary, like, if you do this, I'm going to do that, and then I wouldn't do it. And I've learned people hear action more than words. And as a result of all of this, I've been writing, which is amazing because I stopped writing for a while, and turns out I'm a writer. I never knew I was because I wasn't a reader. I had such a hard time in school. I barely graduated, and I've learned that I learn by audio. And that is so much easier for me to hear things and to see things. But to read them, I've always had a hard time with comprehension and reading, and it just is not for me. And I used to believe I was stupid because of this, and I found out I am very smart. I just didn't learn like everybody else. And I was growing up in a house that was dysfunctional, and I did not do well in dysfunctional situations. I couldn't pretend like everything was fine when it wasn't. And but it always looked back like I was the screwed up one because I couldn't handle stuff. And then people would say, Michelle, you're so gullible. And I'm wearing my Nashville shirt, which I love. I went line dancing today. I went 3 times this week, but the first time I heard bless your heart, like, I didn't know that that was sarcasm. Like, a lot of times when people say bless your heart down south, they're not blessing your heart. It's like, you're so stupid, or sarcasm. And I took everything literally. So it took me a while to figure out, when people are like, bless your heart, they weren't really blessing you. Or some people use like prayer as a way, like, I'll pray for you, which really means, screw you. So I've had to discern all of that and figure that out over the years. And I thought when people were calling me gullible, they were calling me stupid. And it was just, I wore my heart on my sleeve. And I learned that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. However, I've learned that is my biggest asset, and I am proud to still wear my heart on my sleeve. And what that means is I get hurt a lot, but I would rather get hurt and feel things than be numb and be in active addictions, which I have been most of my life. I was in a food addiction when before I found drugs and alcohol. I found food. I bit my fingernails down until they bled. I tickled my pillowcase. What else did I do? I started smoking cigarettes, and then I drank and did drugs. And then part of my process was stopping drinking and doing drugs and then quitting the cigarettes, not until I was like 10 years sober, by the way. And then after quitting the cigarettes, I had to quit. What did I quit? It was kind of like I worked on some of the food stuff with like Weight Watchers because I always struggled with my weight. I really didn't realize it was an addiction to sugar, flour, wheat, and I don't eat dairy or caffeine now. So anyway, I've been addressing my addictions over my life, and there's so many addictions. Workaholism, I was in workaholism. I was in codependency, which is, for me, what codependency looked like is cushioning the blow for other people. It's like I'd rather hurt myself than hurt you. And then I've learned, why do I have to hurt myself or hurt you? I don't have to hurt you, and I don't have to hurt myself either. And learning how to not do that is the hardest thing I've ever done, and I'm still doing, and I have a lot of support for it. And even with all the support that I have, it's still not easy. So I go to 3 12-step programs, and I try and do 3 meetings a day. I'm off of sugar, flour, wheat, caffeine, and dairy. I still overeat fruit at night sometimes. And that is part of my, wanting to feel better. And I'm used to sabotaging myself at night. And I'm working on not doing that as much. Not that I don't do it, but I don't do it as much. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you're having a good New Year so far. I do have a broken heart right now, and I know it's not forever. And I know this wasn't something either one of us planned for. So I didn't think this would ever happen, that I could fall for a Catholic priest, even though I don't even go to church either. So yeah, this is totally new for me. So please stay safe, stay tuned, and I will see you all next week.